welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks, part of our NFL weekly recaps. You're joined by myself, Dakota, and of course, Timothy. How are we today?
Not too bad. Not too
Nice,
bad.
nice Philadelphia background you got there.
You dig it?
Hmm.
It's very nice. Styling.
And not in Philadelphia even. You're in London, so
Yeah,
that's even more cool.
I bring my spirit wherever I'm at. But I mean, I think we're all right. I mean, if we take a quick little pause, to identify that it is Red October.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little sad over the last game they had. I really thought that could have been a stomp on the Braves' neck kind of game. But listen, at the end of the day, you stole one in Atlanta. You're coming back to Philly. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
too upset. But you know what it is? It was just so much momentum going for that team.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it showed you everything when game one, when they had one minor, by a bad call or whatever, and their fans were throwing shit on the field. Like, dude, you were the best team in baseball. It's game one. The game's not even over. This didn't even cost you the game, and you're throwing stuff on the field. Like, grow up. But
Yeah, that was
I mean, the
pretty
fans were,
surprising.
yeah, they were completely out of it, and then you just lost in the worst way with that late home run, and then even that catch and the double up on the wall. Like, you could just see the energy come back.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I do think they still have the upper hand because like they should have the Braves got a couple lucky breaks and well-timed hits, and like I said before, it sometimes it takes a crazy defensive play to beat the Phillies in the playoffs, and it happened last year. I think it was against the Astros that they had a wild defensive play. It was what Nola's brother, and then
yeah,
now we have this Braves making a home run saving catch and somehow throwing out Harper, who was at first,
yeah.
but.
I
I don't
mean,
know. I think they'll
you
be.
still took one.
I think they'll win on Wednesday and then finish on Thursday because A, the home field advantage, but B, like both games, they look like Atlanta didn't even look like they were in these games. Like the Phillies were dominating. Wheeler had a no hitter through 6.5 or 5.5 innings.
Well, that's it.
So
I mean, that makes it even worse. And and that's the other thing that drives me nuts is, like you said, Wheeler was dealing 6 innings. He was like
yeah,
pretty much a no hitter. He had like struck out the first 10 batters, yet he still gave up a run. I mean, it was unearned, but like you can't have two errors and get a run in when your pitcher's cooking that much.
well, and they had 10 plus hits and however many men left on base. I mean, I like that they're starting out hot on the first inning. They've scored in both first innings, but like you're leaving so many people on base. I mean, Realmuto's hitting well, so that's a good sign.
Yeah,
Because he was struggling last playoffs, I remember. Harper
but
looks good still. I mean, Schwarber strikes out, but he's still gonna hit
he's
bombs.
he's been all right. Yeah, he's been okay so far. It's infuriating because it's like little things in the playoffs matter. Giving up
Mm.
one run when you have by two errors, which is insane in itself. I was always under the impression Trey Turner
Two
was a
on
good
Trey
fielder.
Turner too. He was
Yeah,
a pretty sound defensive
apparently
player.
that's just unacceptable.
But yeah,
And again, leaving all those guys on base, like I know you scored what was it, 4 runs they had, but eventually that could disappear in a blink of an eye,
mm-hmm.
and that's exactly what happened. And it's just disappointing. That was a game you had. And I really think if you won that game, they very just looked so defeated. They had no mojo. You were just dominating, and you send it back to Philly like that. I mean, I just at that point, I think the brooms are coming out. But this next one's gonna be important, man. This is really gonna turn everything. The Braves are gonna carry their momentum if they win another one. If you can win this one,
I
then that kicks
mean,
it right back to you.
I got to think the winner of Game 3 wins the series. It just feels that way.
I mean, you got at
So
least the home field in game 4, but you don't want to go to that if you're down 2-1.
yeah, I don't want to. I mean, not that Atlanta has a home field advantage, but I don't want to stretch this series out to 5. So,
Listen, this is Nola time. If there's ever been a game where you need a Nola to show up,
oh, this
it's
is
this one.
this is this is like a legacy game for him. Like
Oh yeah,
he needs to pitch his life on this fucking game. But
he needs like Cole Hamels, great pitcher. You know, one of the best pitchers I think the Phillies have developed in, I don't know, 30 years.
yeah,
Um, Cole Hamels is the dude, legend. I don't think he's ever going to make the Hall of Famer. I would vote for him, but I'm completely biased, and I admit that. But he's like forever folklore. We love him so much, and he's an incredible pitcher. mostly because he was just so dominant in 2008. And I don't feel like Nola's on that level. And he really could, in franchise history, I think, get to that Cole Hamels level if he just shows up in these big moments. Because, to be honest, he's getting outshouted by Zach Wheeler. But he's, a guy that's
Nola,
come up through the organization, has taken some heat, been consistent here and there. He needs his Cole Hamels moment.
he never won Cy Young, right? He was just a runner up. Aaron
No,
Nola.
Nola, no.
Okay, yeah, I can remember. I know that one year when he was lights out before we had Wheeler. He was like close to Cy Young, but
Listen, we need Cole Hamels moment from Nola. We need that
I
2008
mean,
Cole Hamels
he
moment for
pitched really
Nola.
well against the Marlins, so we'll
Marlins are
see.
different than the Braves, so we'll see what
I know,
happens.
but I
Although, I
mean,
mean,
Suarez, yeah,
Ranger and Wheeler both have looked good.
yeah.
That's what pisses you off more, is that you don't have 2 wins to go along with it.
Well, what's more surprising that the Phillies been dominating and it's a 1-1 series with errors leading to the victory of the Braves, or the fact that the Arizona Diamondbacks are up 2-0 on the LA Dodgers.
I mean, I'd have to say Arizona, to be
Yeah,
honest.
especially after
And
a 10-1 game or whatever that was the day before.
yeah, rocked Kershaw for 6.
And he didn't even get out of the first inning. That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's pretty sweat. I mean, the Dodgers, they have like a history of falling on their face in the playoffs, but they
Oh
usually
yeah,
do that in like the World Series or the championship round. Like,
yeah.
not in the divisional. They at least get it out of that. But I mean, we'll see. Seasons, series is still going on, but
I mean, if we
it's
learned
just a
anything
shame.
from last year's MLB playoffs, at least on the National League side, is that it's wide open. Like who it was Phillies and the what Padres
Padres, yeah.
in the championship. So
Listen, all I know is if the Diamondbacks are gonna beat the Dodgers, I pray that we can get through the Braves because I would love to
ooh,
play the Diamondbacks.
yeah, I just hope the Phillies don't um take it for granted that that's their opponent. I don't think they will, but
Well, don't look ahead, man.
yeah,
You
if
really dropped the
if
ball. You really dropped the ball in game 2. You had all the momentum in the world. The Braves looked like a defeated team, and you let them go because you got careless and
well,
made some
here's
mistakes.
what's gonna
But
happen is that the team's gonna come out and they're gonna be fired up that they let that get away. Like I think Castellanos was saying something about just gonna make us more hungry or something along those lines.
hey, listen, that's fine.
But if you come out flat and you blow it, I don't know what to tell you. But
Yeah, but we'll see.
we
But
shall see. Yep.
moving on.
All right. On to football. Eagles.
What were you? So we're 5-0.
Another sweaty win.
That's all right. You know what? Yeah, I caught myself, yelling at the TV and being furious, and I just like, again, like most of the first half. And like I just look at the record, I'm like, we really are one of 2 undefeated teams. Like it's kind of wild. We're 5-0, and I feel like I've yelled at my TV like we've lost every single game.
Unless I misread the stat, which is, I mean, it's a meh. It's not that big of a deal, but the Eagles are the first team in NFL history to go 5-0 after losing a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah, that's a good little tidbit there. I mean, the Super Bowl hangover is usually very real.
I think my favorite thing that I've seen so far is that I mean at this point I've like lost interest in even entertaining the hate comments on the Eagles, but the fact that they've been saying that the Eagles are frauds again, even though the 49ers are getting all this praise and they've literally played worse opponents than we have.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
I'm like y'all barely, like we had a close, we beat the Rams, we held them to less points than you did, and this and that. I'm like, who fucking cares? Like
I
it's
mean,
so
for
weird the hate on Jalen especially. They're like, oh, Brock Purdy never lost a home game, I've never lost a game he started. I was like, Jalen Hurts exists, also has a stacked team, but so does Brock Purdy. Like,
do
it
you
doesn't
watch the
make
Niners?
sense.
I watched a little bit of that game before it just got blown out. He's throwing to guys wide open. Like
It's just that's what like
they're really is not really making tough throws. These guys are
the
wide open, and it's all yards after catch. You have like
the
4 of the best yards after catch guys in the league.
yeah, and it's like you you have what essentially what Dallas got exposed, right? But what we were saying all this time leading up to is that they've gotten some. Yes, they are talented. Yes, they have a good defense, but they get really lucky with some bounces, really lucky with some interceptions,
Mm-hmm.
some defensive touchdowns, and then what happened with San Fran? Dak threw 3 picks. Now, San Fran's a great defense. You know, you got Fred Warner, fucking linebacker of the century out here.
It's true.
But at the same time, they only ran up that score because of how many lucky bounces and breaks they got. Like, I don't think Brock Purdy is not a world beater, right? Now, CMC had a
He just
down
does enough.
game, so like, sure, but like CMC didn't do anything against the Eagles. And granted, they didn't have a quarterback, but he still didn't do anything. And even before Purdy got hurt, which I think was on the first drive, but he wasn't really moving the ball. So I don't know.
I I
I want
think
to
I
see when they
mean,
play each other. Then people will shut up. So
well, this is where I'm with the Eagles. Like we're gonna get the schedule gets tough. You got some real
yeah.
tough games coming up. These are like measuring stick games coming
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
You're gonna see how good you actually are. But at the end of the day, you still have 5 wins. Like those 5 wins aren't going anywhere. Like that's big.
Realistically, you
Good
need
teams
what,
find a way to win,
5 or 6
and
more
that's what you
wins,
need.
and then you're in the playoffs. Like it's like
I mean, you got well. Let's see, because your tough schedule is what you got: the Dolphins, you got the Bills, the Cowboys, obviously, the Niners,
Chiefs,
the
Niners,
Chiefs. So you got like those
Seahawks
five
at
games.
Seattle.
Yeah, but those five games
Tough.
are your litmus test. Even if you say like, I'd be really upset, but even if they go 2-3, you're still 7-3.
Yeah,
That's you're fine. No
that's
matter
damn.
how
If
bad.
you told me they'd be 7-3 by the time we get to week 11, that I'm like, yep, I'll take that.
That's the thing. Like they're like even if they don't win majority of these games coming up, they're still 7-3. At the worst, you go 1-4. You're still above 500. You're 6-4. I mean that would be ugly. We'd have a lot of concerns, but you won all these games that you got a good cushion for these tough ones. Obviously, you want
Mm,
to win every game, but I think this will be a good litmus test. But these aren't like desperate games you need to have.
no,
You won all the games in the beginning that you should have won, and that's what good teams do. You stack wins so that when the season gets tougher, you're bound to lose one. You're not going to win every single one. You're fine. You're really
yeah,
not too far off. There's
yeah.
one team you're
It's.
competing with for the number one seed,
I
and
mean,
that's the
it's
Niners.
it's it's casual. People who are just trying to start trouble, but it's just so silly to me that they're like, oh, the Eagles are frauds. I'm like, frauds of what? Like, beat a tough Rams team, beat the Buccaneers who were 3-1, beat a Vikings
Somehow.
team that almost beat the Chiefs. Like, what do you want them to do? They're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. It's so stupid.
Schedule.
They just hate.
Uh,
Honestly, it's because they're Philly. They just
yeah.
don't. No one likes us. We don't care. So I mean, that's the you
I'm
gotta
not too worried.
no,
I'm
and
not too worried. Just keep
the players
stacking
don't give a
wins.
shit. So they don't care
Keep
about what
stacking
people
wins.
say.
That's literally all that matters. Like at the end of the day, there's two teams undefeated in the NFL, and we're one of them. So
Yeah, but speaking of that game, it was nice. So obviously the Eagles won. I lost the score 20. I want to say 23. Where'd it go? My God, I got so far ahead of the weeks because I kept scrolling. 20. Oh my God, where'd it go?
you cut
23-14.
yeah.
23-14.
I think you saw enough good. What was your plus and minus that you took from this game? A couple positives and negatives. I have one big glaring negative that was concerning. Honestly, I thought we were good in all aspects besides this one point. I mean, the offense looked good. AJ Brown is dominant. Hurts, I thought looked one of the better games. Offensive line dominated. Jalen Carter, I'm just giddy watching him. My biggest criticism is that when we brought back James Bradbury and Darius Slay, I thought that these guys would be crucial in games like this. When you're going against Cooper Kupp, one of the best wide receivers in the league, Puka Nacua, who came out of nowhere, but is low key one of the best wide receivers this season. And I felt like both of them were just getting torched all game. Like the reason you brought back these stud corners was so they can go one-on-one with really good wide receivers and make some plays. And I just feel like they just got torched all game.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know how to evaluate it because on one hand, I think Bradbury had his worst game as an Eagle that I've seen.
Yeah, he looked awful.
Now the one touchdown, I think he just didn't get the right break on it because he saw it coming and he tried to jump it, but he just barely missed it. But then the other one, he just got flat
I
out burned.
mean, listen, it barely missed it. It still missed it.
I
Like
mean,
they were Slay too. I felt like I saw Slay just chasing after Cooper Kupp all day.
I
They were
think
the
it's
ball was
so
coming out quick,
I don't
but these guys were
understand
open.
I don't understand this defense because they ask Slay to play 10 yards off, but then they ask him to, be one-on-one with a guy when he starts going downfield. I'm like, this doesn't make like this defense doesn't make sense how their coverage works. It's like You have someone over the top sometimes. You have someone down low sometimes. Someone in the flat sometimes. Like I don't know if it's missed assignments, but half the time we're like chasing after people in the middle of the field. My God, we said it last week. Like slants and then like digs. The only way people are destroying the Eagles is just these short routes that they're getting
Well,
open and
that's,
getting
I
yards
mean,
out of the
it's
catch. Like
neutral
it's
and it neutralizes our pass rush. This is part of the reason why the pass rush is so ineffective
yeah.
is that these short passes are open all day. I mean, it's like, I mean, to that point, like Gannon, I mean, no one misses Gannon, but Gannon ran, you knew that everyone was going to be 10 yards off the ball every single time. You knew you
Yeah.
couldn't get anything deep. You could have whatever you want in front of them, but they weren't getting anything deep. And like it just seems like you said, you're getting a more of a mixture. I mean, I appreciate Desai for trying different things
He does
instead of
blitz
like
a little more, I think.
yeah, no, they're a little more aggressive. Sometimes they're up at the line, but I don't know. I mean, I am so okay with the defensive play calling. I mean, assignments a little bit. I mean, yeah, there were some issues, but I just thought it was mano y mano. You have two of the best corners in the league. You gave them big money. I thought they would have showed up a little bit more. I mean, they were having their way with them. Like they were
Yeah.
going on, they were, there was contested catches. They brought down every single one. They were getting burned on their routes. They couldn't get tackled when they caught the ball. I just thought those two, for being as good as they should be, this was why you brought them back. They just did not play to what they should be playing to.
Yeah. I'll give you two positives and two negatives of the defense so far. Well, particularly from this game. So two negatives, like we mentioned. The secondary has been a little suspect. There's injuries, but like that's not an excuse for your top 10 cornerbacks to be
That's what
getting
I mean.
smoked.
These aren't like I'm not ridiculing Josh Joby or Eli Ricks. Yeah,
Right.
they had some bad,
Yeah.
coverage too, but these are superstars. They should be making plays.
And it's another year where, granted, we are getting turnovers, but we had who was it? Nicholas Morrow by himself had a missed interception opportunity and a missed fumble recovery opportunity. Like we gotta capitalize on those. It's just like it's especially when it's right in your hand. Like it's
I
frustrating.
mean,
But
the fumbles are tough. I mean, the ball bounces one way or the other.
I mean,
Interceptions, yeah, I
he
agree.
jumped on it and somehow didn't end up on it. But yes,
Yeah, no, yeah, no. I mean, I do agree with that. The turnovers aren't there as much. I mean, that part of that, I think you do miss Gardner Johnson. I mean, he
mm,
was such a ball hawk that took advantage of
yeah.
good coverage by Slay.
Even Maddox, cleaned up the slot pretty well. Let Slay and Bradbury take care of their outsides, but now we're running all over the field. So, but
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, that
two,
was my only real gripe from that game.
yeah, I mean the offense balled. AJ 3 straight 100-yard receiving games. Devontae didn't. I think he had one catch, but I mean he's still there if you need
Listen,
him. Goddard finally
not
had a good
everyone.
game.
I was to say you can't give everyone the ball.
This still seeing too much Gainwell action. I like him, but I like Swift 100 times more. So please stop giving Gainwell the ball.
I mean, he's an injury-prone running back. You got to
I
keep
get it,
fresh.
I get it, but I mean it's night and day. You can see the difference in the yardage that Swift gets versus Gainwell. But
I mean, yeah, I'm okay with this. It's a lot better than giving 32 carries to Gainwell week one, and then I mean Swift obviously is much better. So giving him 30 carries against the Vikings was
yeah,
positive.
I
But
know Penny
I
didn't
mean,
look
I like
good,
the rotation.
but I'd like to see Penny get more opportunities at least. But I
Yeah,
think because
I
Boston
don't know what
Scott
the
plays
plan is.
special teams, that he's always active. But
Well, they're running Jalen
um,
a lot more than I think they did last year.
no, they run him a lot less.
I feel like there's more designed runs, like
Mm,
actual
I
like
think
first option.
I think this game there were, but I think the games before that, I think they were trying not to make them run too much. But anyways, so yeah, offense looked good, but I was gonna say my two positives on defense. Let me just say nobody can fucking run against us. Like that front is stout. I don't
Yeah,
know if any teams run over 50 yards yet on us. Like they are locked up. Um,
probably.
and then like you mentioned, well that guy Jalen Carter, man,
Oh,
he
he's awesome.
is
He's so
fucking
good.
special. Did you
I
see?
like he's
I thought right away he was gonna get a personal foul when he just bursted through that line and fucking threw Matt Stafford on the like a fucking doll. I was like, oh, here comes the pounding. But no, they said,
he
hey, fair play,
he is better than all the hype. And I mean the hype of
which is crazy.
he was the best player on a back-to-back national champion defense.
Hmm.
It's actually unreal how good he is. And I was so excited for this game. Like Fletch has been awesome. I think it's, helped that he's got Davis and Davis and Carter playing a lot next to him. But him being out, you knew you were going to get a whole bunch of Carter. And dude is just insane. Like he's so good.
Oh
I
yeah.
have to think, pending, a wild card, I think defensive rookie of the year is going to be pretty much a one-man race with him.
I don't know anyone. I mean, I think Gonzalez might have been in the mentions, but he's obviously out for the year, and I think Witherspoon could be in the mention. But I mean, Carter's just in a league of his own right now.
So good. It's nice. I mean, one thing like you mentioned with the going 5-0 after a Super Bowl, this is our hats off to Howie, like because a lot of these Super Bowl teams or winners or losers, they get picked clean. Everyone's get priced out. Everyone wants every guy on that team, and he brought back the right guys. You lose Hargrave, but you draft Jalen Carter, who's pretty much picked up the exact same production.
I'm not gonna lie, I'll happily take Carter over Hargrave, because of how much
like,
younger he is and his projection I think is greater. So,
oh my god, yeah, he's in
and cheaper.
He looks like he's going to be on the Chris Jones, Aaron Donald stratosphere.
I was gonna say he's very Aaron Donald esque. Maybe not as not as strong or fast, but he's the
fact
big.
that you can't block him is very.
They had two people on him, so
he's just amazing.
It's
really incredible.
I am glad we got some clutch Hassan Reddick action. I guess now that he's got that cast off, he's a little better with his moves and stuff. But I was screaming at my TV because I was like, it was third and something, and I was just screaming. I was like, "Come on, Hassan, this is your moment!" And then he got the sack, and I was like, and then I saw them line up, and they put a running back outside, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna get to the quarterback again!" And he just flew right past that running back. I was like, "What were they thinking?" I mean, I'm guessing they were gonna double him up, but he fucking speeded past the running back.
I mean, there's too many linemen on that. That's where our pressure is. I thought all in all, like the offense, I was really happy with. The play calling, I think, is getting much better.
The play calling, this was the best. I said this in I think one of our group chats. This is the best play calling I've seen all year. So that's good that there's progress. So good variety. Still got away from the run a little bit more than I'd like, but they got back to it at the end of the game. So
that's fine. They've still found a way to win, which is good.
Yeah,
we're undefeated. We're 5-0, baby.
But yeah, I mean, they won. You know what it is though? I don't think it's weird. It's not like they're struggling to win games. They're just kind of like struggling to like. It's not even struggling. I would say put people away or like they let teams hang around because they just have lapses in defense and they get too soft and.
Well, that's where the turnovers come in. I mean, you get one or two turnovers. That's when you really start putting people away.
Realistically, besides Washington, did you feel worried at any point in any of these games?
Like realistically, no. I pretty much confidently thought
the score may not show it, but I feel like they were pretty dominant in most of these games.
Yeah,
especially time possession and yards. Like,
well, that's the thing, man. Is like when they need to like have a drive, like an 8-minute, 9-minute drive, they pretty much have it every single time.
Yeah,
I've never seen them where like, you know what, they have to go kill clock, just hold the ball, and they go 3 and out or anything like that. They just get a first down so easily. I mean, the whole tush push, brotherly shove, or whatever the hell the people are calling about nowadays, like it truly is unstoppable.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I think it's hilarious one of the teams do it and it just fails miserably.
I think it's hilarious that people are like, it needs to be banned. I'm like, give one, like, why? It's a QB sneak. Yeah. That's all it is. Oh, can we take a minute? Can we take a minute before we move on from the Eagles? That play when Jalen, it was like 3rd and 7. He scrambled outside and it was like, I think it was a linebacker on the Rams, tried to like truck him like really hard. And Jalen just took it like a champ and reestablished himself on like one leg and then kept running. Like, how many quarterbacks are going to get plowed in that situation? And he just brushed off the hit and just kept going.
Well, Jalen is pretty much a linebacker.
He's a gamer.
So.
Well, he's a running back.
Yeah,
running back who can throw. But
hey, we're 5-0. Can't really. I mean, we can't really say anything on them. The little tweaks here and there. I think they are improving. They're getting better.
Well, I hope they make it 6-0 because Nick and I will be at the Jets game this Sunday. So
Very nice.
yeah. Also, we'll be at the Phillies game on Thursday. So we're doubling up on sports this weekend.
Oh, look at you, you spoiled slut.
I think this is my first playoff game for the Phillies. Like I may have been to a Sixers playoff game. I can't remember, but if not, this will be my first playoff game.
Fair enough. Well,
So
hopefully you bring some good luck.
hopefully it's a clincher game, so we will see. Well, for the Phillies, let's say. But moving on, week 5. So we had a surprise game. Commanders lost to the Bears 40-20 on Thursday night. Justin Fields had 5 touchdowns. DJ Moore had 3 of those. They blew up. They had a great game. I wouldn't be surprised if this coming up week they, disappear again. But good for them, to get their first win. But I don't think this is going to change.
Is this
their
more
season.
are the Commanders terrible, or this was a Thursday night fluke? Because they happen.
I think
it's tough to go short week.
Yeah, I think it was just they played a really, the more they lost. They could have beat the Eagles and they lost. Maybe it was just, they were caught up in it and didn't come prepared for the Bears. They probably overlooked them, but
yeah,
I don't know. I still think the Commanders are going to be a competitive team. They're not. I don't think they'll finish positive record wise, but I think they'll still play. But also, Eagles Commanders is a divisional game. Those games are different.
I still like Sam Howell, man. He was out there scoring. He made some plays.
For 400 yards.
Yeah, he made some plays. The problem is the Commanders don't have a secondary. Yeah. They are terrible.
They're struggling. I like the rookie they have, and obviously a big VT guy, so I love Fuller. But yeah, they've besides that, it's a little rough. At least from the Bears game.
I don't like any of their secondary. Their secondary just completely sucks.
They up until this game they were pretty solid, but
they gave up 34 points the week before to the Eagles.
Anyway,
they were pretty solid.
Across the pond, where you call home, we had Jaguars beat the Bills 25-20. See, I'm so mad. I wanted to take the Jaguars, but because you took them first, I wanted to be different.
Oh, don't blame me.
You go replay the tape. I said I was going to take the Jags.
Yeah. All I know is you didn't pick them, so.
Sloppy, pretty boring game until the fourth quarter. A lot of penalties. It was 11
injuries.
11 to 6 at one point. It's weird scores.
Yeah.
Penalties and injuries. Scary injuries. Yeah. Someone broke their leg. Was it the linebacker?
Milano. Yeah.
That's tough.
Not good. Not good.
But Jags, and look, this is what we were saying on the episode last week. They're now 3-2, and Bills are now 3-2. They're right in the thick of the AFC again. So, but another team in their division is also 3-2. The Colts beat the Titans 23-16. So, Anthony Richardson got hurt again though, and not to be that guy, but he's killing my fantasy team. Every time I start,
I don't want to hear it from you. I lost him. I lost him, Jefferson, and a chain for the next month at least in 1 week.
I lost Nick Chubb after 2 weeks ago.
Oh, boo-hoo. I lost 3 starters in 1 week.
I had to play Jamar Chase this week. I don't.
Oh, boo-hoo. Go on. Keep it. Touch on Jamar Chase. How did the Bengals do?
Oh, the Bengals finally got back on the winning streak again. They beat the Cardinals 34-20. Mr. I'm always fucking open, Jamar Chase. Had a hell of a game. Was it 194 yards, 3 touchdowns, I believe it was. 50. Good. He scored 52 fantasy points against me. Good for him.
Pour one out for you.
It's all, you know what it is in fantasy. It's always when you have a high scoring week, the person you're playing also has a high scoring week. So.
Oh yeah.
I would have beaten anyone else that's in our one league, but it's just oh well.
Fantasy is a cruel mistress.
It's been a lot, and injuries have been rough for a lot of people this year for fantasy, and obviously real life. But
you mean me, who just lost 3 players in 1 week?
Oh,
okay, cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you'll get them back at some point.
In a month. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where my season
is. Anyway, so yeah, Anthony Richardson and a shoulder injury. I don't know what the status of that is going into the next week, but Gardner Minshew.
I know he's out. He's out.
He's out.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew looked good again in relief. So led the Colts to a win over the Titans. They're
It's
three and
good for the
two.
world. It's good for the world when Gardner Minshew plays.
Minshew mania,
Everyone's happy
yeah.
with that. We love it.
Still would have liked him on this team over the Mariota, but get what you
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
I guess. Boy, I don't know what to think about the Patriots anymore. They have just been on a downward spiral.
Brutal.
I mean, they look
They
good against
are.
the Eagles, and then you're like, oh, maybe their defense is gonna, help them win some games, and then they've been shit since that.
Yeah, they're. This is
34-0. Mac Jones
this
is
is a tough game, man.
garbage. Oof.
This is a tough one. There's nothing to build off this. The defense gives up 34. You don't score anything, and it was to the Saints, who aren't that good. Really, really bad game for them.
Yeah, Mac Jones is might be looking for a new team next year.
I told you. This is why he was on the Duds list last week.
Yeah. Steelers beat the Ravens 17-10. That was a weird game too. Like it was like the Ravens scored like 10 points in the first quarter and then didn't touch the end zone the rest of the game.
Well, they
Lamar,
dropped like 4 touchdown passes.
yeah, I mean, you got to feel for Lamar. I mean, you got an Aguilar, an Aguilar drop, a little throwback there.
The most consistent thing in the NFL.
Yeah, you can't get this man receivers that'll catch a ball. And OBJ got hurt once again. Like he needs to retire. He can't stay on the field.
I mean,
Um,
well, let's relax a little bit. When you say, "Oh, you can't get this man receivers," they went and brought in, spaghetti hands Nelson Aguilar and Odell Beckham, whose knees just aren't working anymore. Like, what are you shocked that Nelson Aguilar dropped the ball or that Odell's hurt? Are either of those shocking to you?
no, I mean there's talent. Like this is a better talent that they've gotten him. But I mean,
They're bigger names,
yeah,
but they Nelson Aguilar dropping balls and Odell getting hurt is the same thing.
yeah, I guess so. But anyways, I told you the AFC North was going to be a very tight race, and it's looking that way. So, Lions smacked the Panthers 42-24. So bad that Panthers fans were booing their own team. I thought only Eagles fans did that. Um, but Lions look good. This
They're
is
really
what you're
good.
supposed to do. You're supposed to destroy an inferior team. Still waiting for the Eagles to have that. I mean they beat the Bucks pretty bad, but maybe not on the scoreboard.
Listen,
But
we're 5-0. We're 5-0. Who
yeah,
cares?
yeah,
We don't
it'll
need
come
style points.
eventually.
That's what the Cowboys
Um,
and Niners do.
yeah, shout out, Craig Reynolds, Kutztown alum, had his first NFL touchdown for the Lions. So it's
Wow,
pretty cool.
there you go. Proud of you.
And then UCF great, Gabe Davis also had a touchdown. He had
He
two of
did.
them actually because one got called back and then they threw it to him again and he caught it. So,
He's incredible.
but anyways, Dolphins beat the Giants 31-16. The Giants continue to be a team of misery.
They're trash.
Not much to say. I think they had a pick six, and that's like half of the points they scored. So yeah, they fucking
They did, yeah. They're
they're
a long
bad.
pick six.
And
Daniel
102
Jones
yards.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, Daniel Jones is a terrible investment of all that money, but I kind of like. He's getting destroyed.
yeah. It's him and Sam Howell are weird because they're both like show they struggle at times, but at the same time they're like up there in amount of times they're getting sacked a game. So
Dude, what Daniel Jones is going through right now is almost like I'd feel bad if it wasn't for the fact that he plays for the Giants.
yeah, if he played for any other team in a different
I
division,
truly would feel horrible about him.
he's trying. He doesn't really have any receivers. I mean, Darren
I mean,
Waller's like a shell of himself right now. It's just
Aaron. I mean,
no Saquon.
Andrew Thomas is hurt, but like, is he really going to make this much of a difference? This
Did,
offensive line
did,
is
did,
so terrible.
did Evan Neal make your dud list again? Because he once again looked horrendous.
Oh yeah, he is so ass. I could have, to be honest, I could have, but I like to bring some variety to the show. I'm not a double dipper.
Variety. Anyways,
This is where are we at now?
yeah. So besides the Ravens who fucked up my parlay, the Texans also fucked up my parlay, and they lost to a last second field goal by the Falcons, 21-19.
Falcons are a weird team. 3-2.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter is somehow undefeated at home. Doesn't make any sense. But there's that. Bengals, like we said, beat the Cardinals. The Jets beat the Broncos 31-21. The Broncos are who's the bigger train wreck right now? The Bears or the Broncos? Because
Broncos.
For Sean Payton to come out and say Nathaniel Hackett did the worst coaching job he's ever
Oh
seen,
yeah,
and
this
then to
I
lose to Nathaniel Hackett, man, that's got to be sweet.
listen.
What's the word
I
for
just
that,
want to
man?
say, I just want to say, I hope you and everyone else has as good of a week as Nathaniel Hackett is having right now.
Oh, he's on cloud fucking nine
He went and got to beat, and like it's not like he just went there with Aaron Rodgers and beat him. Like, dude, I went and beat you
with
with my
Zach
shitty
Wilson.
ass backup quarterback, and then Robert Saleh comes and hit him with the be humble. Oh, Sean Payton, sit the fuck down, buddy. That was brutal. And you know what? It is the Broncos are much more of a train wreck, and I'll tell you why. Because the Bears, they were the worst team in football last year,
Mm,
and they have an extra first round pick this year.
mm.
The Broncos don't have a first round pick in general.
Because he gave it away
So
for Russ.
yeah, like there's one team that's rebuilding and they have the picks to show for it. Then there's the other team who went all in and don't have the picks to show for it. It's really what the Denver Broncos are doing now is going to be a case study on these massive quarterback trades. Because, I mean, up until that, you had like Stafford was a good trade. Trying to think what other quarterbacks were traded that I can. Kirk Cousins. I don't think Cousins.
He
He wasn't
signed. He
traded.
was signed.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was
but
like 84 million guaranteed. You forget about that?
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, maybe it was just the Stafford trade I'm thinking of. I thought there was a couple others I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, it's really you set yourself up real bad if this quarterback doesn't figure out how to play football again. And Russ looks terrible.
Kind of.
Nathaniel
Yeah, I feel.
Sean Payton is just lost. That defense is horrendous.
I don't understand it. Doesn't make any sense
Shame.
to me.
I have nothing against the Broncos, so I can't get as much joy as I would to like another team I don't like, but it is kind of funny.
It's just weird. Like the absolute downfall of Russell Wilson. Like he was an elite quarterback for his most of his career, if not all of it, in Seattle, and didn't just not even the same person in Denver. I just don't. I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah, there's I don't know.
Weird.
I would Chicago looks bad, but I do not would not want to be in Denver.
Yeah, it's a train wreck. Anyways, the last remaining games we had Sunday Night Football. Well, yeah. Chiefs beat the Vikings 27-20. See, I told you. I was like, Vikings have a chance here, and then they almost did, and then they fucking blew it. But I almost got my
Listen,
pick right.
we say the same thing about the Eagles. Good teams find a way to win.
Yeah.
You know, for the same people that are saying, "Oh, Zach Wilson outdueled Patrick Mahomes," and the Vikings nearly won. Listen, the Chiefs still win. Good teams find a way to win. Doesn't
Watch it.
matter how they do it.
And it'll end up Chiefs Eagles in the Super Bowl again because that's just how they're playing, and they beat the teams they need to beat. So
Yeah, it's true.
and then weird game, Raiders beat the Packers. So Jordan Love went from being wow, this guy is actually really good to like this guy is fucking ass. Like
Yeah, the Raiders defense is horrendous.
I don't understand. Three interceptions. I don't understand what happened to him. I mean, they really don't have any receivers. They're all young guys, but like, come on, like this is ridiculous. I don't know. Every player is just got a poker face. We don't know who any of them really are because one week they look great, the next week they look like dog shit. So,
Well, we're finding out now. And actually, perfect transition because let me hit you with my third dud right here. Look at that,
well,
smooth as butter.
we also do. We'll just touch on real quick. Niners smacked on them Cowboys, 42-10. But
Okay, well, you went out of order, so
well, sometimes that you go out of order too. You interrupt me. So
all right. Well, rolling into our third dud, Mr. Jordan Love, who we were just talking about, who I know you mentioned the 3 interceptions, but you didn't mention the fact that he had no touchdowns, and he was 16 of 30. Really, really rough completion percentage there.
good stuff.
Yeah, 182 yards passing. Really, I mean, in a game that's 17-13 and you're playing against a defense that is complete ass, you got to show up a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
In Devontae Adams' revenge game, it looks like the Packers desperately needed Devontae Adams. So, number 3, I think this is his first appearance on the Duds list. So, welcome to the club, Jordan Love. We got Jordan Love. Number 2, a guy you were actually just touching on, and we just hit him on the back because I wasn't sure which way we were going to go with this. Had you told me we were going to go with Sunday Night Football to end instead of Monday Night Football, I probably would have changed up my order because it was really neck and neck. But you went out of order, so I had to spice it up. But let's go back to another quarterback who threw 3 interceptions. And well, don't get me wrong, I could have picked anyone on this team. Tony Pollard had 8 carries for 29 yards, was less than 4 yards carry. There wasn't a single wide receiver that went over 50 yards receiving. I mean, the defense got torched. But let's go with the quarterback, Mr. I've never been more humbled in my entire life. 14 of 24, 153, and 3 interceptions. He did have 1 touchdown, so that's something. But his team got actually smoked, and they looked terrible in the process. So we're going to go with Mr. Dak Prescott, who I don't think it is his first time on the Duds list. So he's making a return visit, but first time this season.
Very nice.
Moving on. This one we kind of touched on a little bit. This is probably, I mean, we don't get a lot of Hall of Famers on the Dud list, but obviously there's been Hall of Famers on the Dud list before. We rarely get any GOATs ever on the Hall of Fame list or the Dud list. This one is quite possibly the greatest coach in NFL history, who is having one hell of a time trying to figure out life without his superstar quarterback. And things they haven't looked good since Tom Brady left, but this season has completely fallen off the wagon and it looks brutal. We kind of touched on this. He got absolutely smoked by a Saints team that isn't very good. And it wasn't even that. It was the shutout plus giving up 34 points. Like, he's always been a defensive guy, but dude, you just gave up 34 points to the Saints, who aren't really world beaters. So Mr. Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, finds his place at number 1 in the Dud list. Wow. I mean, mostly because you're out of excuses at this point. You benched Mac last week just to start him this week. You don't have Matt Patricia as a defensive-minded offensive coordinator anymore. You actually brought back Bill O'Brien, who had success with you. Your defense, which has always been solid, is trash. Like, there is nothing going on for the Patriots that makes you think that they have any positives. And you got to look at the head coach. Now, I do want to throw this out to you. We just saw this story play out in the NBA. One of the greatest coaches ever, with a franchise that is trying to find its way after their dynasty has come to a finish, ends up with the number 1 overall draft pick and drafts a generational talent with Wembanyama going to the Spurs and Greg Popovich. Do the Patriots find their way into the number 1 overall draft spot and give themselves a generational talent like Caleb Williams? Does a dynasty and a Hall of Fame coach, does the NBA and NFL fall in the same parallel universe? Is it in the NFL game script to let Caleb Williams go to Bill Belichick and the Patriots? Because if you
never crossed my mind until you just said it, and it's actually insane to think, but I also not like that would make so much sense. They're like, oh yeah, let's just tank and we'll get.
I didn't think about it until honestly I saw the Spurs. I was watching a Wembanyama highlight, and I was thinking, like, it's still so crazy he's on the Spurs. Like, this team was gifted Tim Duncan.
Yep.
And now they're gifted Victor Wembanyama, who's an incredible prospect. And I was thinking, like, damn, in a parallel universe, this is similar to kind of what the Patriots are doing. And to be honest, the Patriots have looked worse than I think the Broncos and the Bears and the Panthers. They beat the Jets, but that was Zach Wilson's first game. Like, that's not really saying much. It's very much an option. So what are you thinking? Are you buying the Patriots as a number 1 overall pick destination?
I mean, normally I'd say no, but the way they're just getting their ass beat is not very Patriot-like. That is not the Patriot way.
No, it's not the Patriot way.
I don't know. I'm actually out of curiosity. Let's see.
I would hate it though. I truly.
Oh, it would be great, but horrible for the NFL, because then if Caleb Williams ends up being who he's supposed to be, we have to deal with the fucking Patriots for another 15 years.
I mean, listen, don't be wrong. Like,
Belichick will be 150 by then, but
the Spurs were like, I feel like okay because they were small market. They had a team they drafted. They weren't like free agent big threes or whatever. They drafted and developed these guys, so you kind of could live with them. They were tolerable. The Patriots suck. Like, I hate the Patriots. Fuck the Patriots. Tom Brady was always so smug. They got caught cheating twice. They used to bring in, they would always find big free agents that would come in that would take less money, or Brady would always take less money. Bill Belichick was the worst. Like, Popovich and Belichick were neither like friendly, personable guys, but I found Belichick to be more of a douche than Popovich was. But I would hate if Caleb Williams found their way there, and they just went from Brady to Caleb Williams. And you're kind of right. Like, it doesn't seem like the Patriot way, but at the end of the day, like, this is why Belichick's number one dud on my list. Because I'm like thinking, yeah, all right, some games I'm like, all right, Belichick would just coach his way to victory. That is not happening. There's nothing there to make you think that Belichick has anything hidden up his sleeve or is doing anything successful.
That would be, I mean, it would be crazy. Right now, I mean, Carolina is 0-5. They are the only winless team in the league. So they would have the number one pick, but that's Chicago's pick because of the trade for Bryce Young. So
Now I'll give you this argument.
Chicago's 1-2. Then it's Denver. Then it's Minnesota. And then it's New England at 5 right now. But
so
we have
I
a lot
would
of
say,
1-4 teams. There's 7 teams, 1 win or less. My God.
yeah, well, I'd say the Vikings, I'm not worried. They'll win a couple games. The
Giants will win enough that they're not going to.
The Giants will win enough. The Panthers, I mean, the Panthers are real contenders, but you got to factor
They're
in
not
their
gonna take
young
a quarterback.
quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a rookie, but they're a rookie quarterback. Like, they're going to get better. Mac Jones sucks. We know that. Like, he's not going to get better. Bryce Young will get better the more he plays. I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to rattle off, a win or two at the end of the season. Plus, they have the advantage of playing the NFC. I know the Buccaneers and the Falcons are 3-2 or whatever, but that division's ass. I don't think the Saints are very good. I don't think the Buccaneers are very good. And I don't think the Falcons are very good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won 2 games off those division opponents alone. The Bears, they do suck, but they showed you a little fight between that Broncos game and the Commanders game. I think they're the greatest contender to the Patriots. The Broncos, I mean, you have to think eventually they win a couple games. Like, there's absolutely no way they can be the worst team in football. Like, the state of Colorado will explode. Like, you have a Super Bowl winning coach and a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and you can't win more than 2 or 3 games. So I think the 2 teams I'm really looking at are the Bears and the Patriots. I think the Panthers get a little more life with Bryce Young, get more comfortable. The Vikings and Giants, I think, win more games. I think they're better than the record. But I think the Patriots really have a chance.
We'll see.
We might see a parallel universe between Spurs and Patriots.
That would be crazy. But go ahead with your 3 studs.
So that's our number 1 dud. Let's move on to the studs, and not as incredible as last week, but there were some very nice stud performances this week.
There were some pretty good receiver performances.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Like, I mean, I could kind of go, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna go clean sweep on the wide receivers. Shout out Zach Moss, because you were my honorable mention up until 30 seconds ago. I bumped you off the list, but I kind of want to go with the trend.
My dumbass said, "Oh, Jonathan Taylor signed his contract. Start him in fantasy." Nope, Zach Moss.
My smart ass said, "I got one more game with Zach Moss. I'm gonna ride him one more time."
Damn, you got lucky then.
That's what I do. So we'll start out number 3, and I'm just gonna say this is a theme. We're just gonna go with all 3 wide receivers. There's some arguments with Zach Moss had a hell of a game. He was actually in the list up until I decided to put a little theme to it because I'm a colorful character.
I mean, Fields threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. But we got 23, 165, 2 touchdowns for Zach Moss. You can't ignore that. That's, something impressive. My boy A-Chain, who is now out for the next month, so I appreciated one more game of 11 carries for 151 yards.
He's fast as fuck.
14 yards a pop for a TD.
Have we seen a faster team in the NFL than the Dolphins?
No, absolutely not. No,
it's insane.
There's something else. But let's go. We are doing all wide receivers on the stud list this week. Right. So let's start off with number 3. And we're going to go with Devin A-Chain's teammate. Honestly, because we know Offensive Player of the Year is a non-quarterback award.
Yes.
He's probably I would assume, the leader, right? Like, I think Tyreek Hill is probably number 1.
CMC. I mean, he had a bit of a down game, but I still would have go with him.
But I mean, Tyreek Hill, he had 181 yards. He had 181 yards in a tutty this past week. He's just insane. He's got 650 yards already in 5 games. That's nuts. That's well over 100 yards per average. But I think if you gave me one vote for Offensive Player of the Year, it's going to him easy. Especially when you factor in Waddle missed a couple games and this high power offense. He's the focal point. He's so good with them. I think he's out. You can make an argument he's better with the Dolphins than he was with the Chiefs.
Oh, I don't think it's even a close argument. I think it's pretty
Yeah,
clear. Leads the
he
league
seemed like
in receiving with 651 yards through 5 games.
literally exactly what I just said 10 seconds ago, but I appreciate you.
I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I could tell. Just like I was like listening to an echo. But yeah, so Tyreek Hill is our third stud this week.
Okay.
Moving on to a guy you've already talked about, and I guess is a little bitter about, but I mean, good to see some life out of the Bengals because I mean, we had them both in the Super Bowl and their quarterback win the MVP, which neither seem very likely to happen. But I mean, they're 2-3. The AFC, I guess, is wide open. But I mean, Mr. Always fucking open. 15 receptions for 192 yards and 3 tutties. Man, that is a way to. I know AJ Brown, barked at Hurts and everyone was losing their mind, and then he came out and kicked the door down. But Jamar Chase made it very clear. I want the ball and give me the ball, and I don't really care how you're going to give it to me. Just get it to me, and I'll make it work. And that's exactly what he did. So Jamar Chase is our second stud. And just like a fine wine, I age gracefully, so it's worth the wait. We're going to kick it back to a Thursday night football game. And we had dominant performance. I mean, 8 receptions for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's like when he was in his prime at Carolina, when he was pushing for
Oh,
top
that
10
was-
receiver status.
No, that was much better than any game he ever had in Carolina. Really came out of nowhere. I didn't see this coming at all. But we're going to go with DJ Moore as the number 1 stud this week. It was one of those games on Thursday night. He put it up, and I was like, he's number 1 stud. Like, someone's going to have to come in and, like, have, like, 6 sacks or, 5 touchdowns like we did last week. But he had that narrowed down. So, DJ Moore, number 1 stud.
And his teammate, Chase Claypool, just got traded to the Dolphins a couple days ago. So, or is that last week, maybe?
I don't know how he still gets
mentioned so much.
Yeah, honestly, has he done anything in 3 weeks? But 3 years?
No,
since Nate Gary put him on the map, he has not done nothing.
He it's crazy because he was on some like a players podcast and he said, "I'm a top 5 receiver. Honestly, I'm probably top 3." He's like, "Top 3 in what? Like watching your teammates win when you're on the sideline? Like I just don't. Well, lose because you're on the Bears, but yeah, his career's done. I don't see him bouncing back.
Yeah, I don't get it. He's so irrelevant, doesn't make any noise. But I mean, listen, you go to the Dolphins, sure, bro, you're not touching the ball.
Now, just to recap, and so you like to hear echo again, just pretty interesting. Well, okay, I think these are skewed because DJ Moore had, like you said, a 230-yard game. So he's now number 5 in receiving in the NFL with 531 yards. So that's a little skewed. But AJ Brown,
one game.
AJ Brown's number 4 with 541. Jefferson, who's now out for a month, has 571. Puka Nacua was second with 572. And almost 100 yards ahead of him was Tyreek Hill with 651. So that's pretty,
like you said,
good crowd there.
Offensive player of the year, and I don't even think it's close. Is Tyreek Hill right now?
On the other side, my vote still Christian McCaffrey, 510 rushing yards. Then Devin Achane, 460 rush yards, and then fucking Zach Moss, number 3 in rushing, 445 yards after Jonathan Taylor's finally coming back. DeAndre Swift still in the top 5 with 434, and then Travis Etienne, 396, number 5. So also TJ Watt, 8 fucking sacks already. Well, he's back.
Yeah, it helps.
But all right, so those are the stats. I'm kind of annoyed. So my too much whiz is kind of nullified by some of the stuff you were saying in your duds list.
Step ahead,
but I will use them anyway. So Timothy, too much whiz. Well, I don't even want to ask this anymore. If the Patriots finish as one of the top 3 worst teams in the league this year, Bill Belichick will retire. But I feel like I know.
No.
Yeah.
Like you said,
he's 78. Like he's up. Him and Pete Carroll are like great grandparents.
Yeah, but you know what? To go off of what I was comparing to before, like Greg Popovich and Belichick, like seem like they don't have any life outside of coaching. Like they don't seem like they would enjoy life. Like they don't seem very friendly. They don't seem like they have much of a social life. They just love coaching, and that's about it. I can't Belichick strikes me as he's going to coach until he dies.
You see
And if
that?
he gets Caleb Williams, absolutely not.
Yeah, the whole Caleb Williams thing has really thrown my whole thought process on the Patriots into a tizzy because I don't know what to that because that's very realistic. But I'll
We saw
jump
it in the
into
NBA.
my second, which is related. Even if too much whiz, even if Justin Fields has his good moments and plays well at times for the Bears this year, if they finish with that number one pick, they will still take Caleb Williams. Too much
Oh, without a
whiz,
doubt. Oh, without a
without a
doubt, they take Caleb
doubt.
Williams. Without a doubt.
Hmm,
You
that's
passed on him
interesting.
once. You passed on a quarterback once,
Uh-huh.
just to end up exactly where you were before. There's no way. I mean, if we're talking about they're going to be the overall pick now, this changes if it's the Panthers pick. If it is the Bears pick, that means you are the worst team in football again. That means that you've probably won maybe one more game, probably
Hmm.
zero. And if that's the case, then Justin Fields is not playing very well. There's just no way. Caleb Williams seems like Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Bryce Young was. There's no way
Hmm.
they pass on him for Justin Fields, especially if you're looking at like if they have the number 1 and number 2 overall pick. I just don't see it. I just don't see how they would move on from him.
So to follow that with your thought process, do they trade Justin Fields on draft day, like when the Cardinals drafted Kyler and then traded Josh Rosen?
Probably. I mean, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, that
I,
would,
I mean,
I mean, Justin Fields seems like the type of player that would be like, yeah, I'm not showing up to any camp or any practice. Get me out of here. Which I
no,
mean,
that's the
most
point.
quarterbacks would. I feel like, but
I mean, most quarterbacks bitch and moan saying, "Oh, I'm not going to help this guy. It's not my job. I'm not going to be
mm,
his mentor." You're talking about a guy who's been in the league for 3 years. I mean, now if it's the Panthers pick, the Panthers are the worst team, and the Bears managed to win, say 6 games or so. Different conversation.
okay,
I still think it's
yeah,
possible because Caleb Williams is this guy. The only guy I ever hear him compared to is Patrick Mahomes. And I
mm,
think just the fear of the Bears, missing on Patrick Mahomes the first time would, make it a conversation. But if this is the Bears picking with their pick, they're the worst team in football. There's absolutely no way they don't take Caleb Williams.
all right. And then my final too much whiz. Now this, I need you to be not a fan of the game. I need you to put your head into the seat of the GM of this team. All right.
Okay.
Let's say that this team continues to have some secondary issues and we're at the final week of before the trade deadline. Too much whiz. The Eagles will make a trade for a defensive back who is arguably, I'll say, top 12 at their position. So either a corner or a safety who's a top 12 player, or maybe top 15.
What, just like a bold, like top
Like a
15, just
legit like a Kevin Byard type, or like a if Buddha was healthy type, or
no.
okay.
I mean, who like most top 15 secondary players aren't getting traded.
You never everyone's available for the right price.
No, and Howie doesn't strike me as someone that's going to overpay for if they brought in Bradley Roby, that's probably the amount they're going to
So they're
do.
just gonna keep patching with that below average players, you think?
Patching, dude, they have two high priced cornerbacks. They're not patching shit. They
Yeah,
better
but
not be trading for a top 15 cornerback if you're going to give all this money to Darius Slay and
yeah,
James
but here's the
Bradbury.
thing: they have draft capital and they have a window here with like this offensive line is not going to be great for in 3-4 years from now. So and Jalen might not be as great, and I wouldn't be shocked. I agree. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not the Eagle way
Top
to
15 player, absolutely not. There's no way they're going to
at
give
their
up that much.
position, not top 15 in the NFL, but
Still, I mean, that's like a big name. I mean, Buddha, I guess, is a name, but I'd be shocked with the injury and everything that gets moved. The Titans are like, compete for the division. They're not going to move on Kevin Byard now.
yeah.
Um, I don't know, like guys like Patrick Surtain obviously is never going to go anywhere, even though Denver is a shit show.
I don't know what JC Horn's health status is, but I heard he might be on the trade block because the Panthers are
That
kind of like
one,
in a weird
I mean, that
position.
would kind of surprise me. I mean, he's young, sure he's
Yeah,
injury prone, but why wouldn't you give him a chance on a team that isn't going anywhere?
well, that's the thing.
Um, yeah, I don't see it. I really don't see the Eagles making any big moves. You don't really need to. Now, the trade deadline's a month away. We'll see how it looks after, when that comes around. But I just don't see the need. I mean, you're top 15 in the position, like you have two top 15 in the position corners already. Unless you're
Yeah,
going to bring in a safety, like Blankenship's not going to, lose any snaps. This is your guy of the future.
fair.
I would say, yeah, no, I don't see them making an impact trade like that.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking safety. I was more thinking slot or corner, but I just said defensive back. So,
No,
oh,
I kind of
well,
like the Bradley Robley pick for that. I mean, he was a slot corner on some very good defenses.
he was from Denver when he was actually like a solid player, wasn't he? And then he went
Yeah,
to the
part of
Saints
that
a couple
Mile
years
High
ago.
defense. The
Yeah,
no fly zone.
we'll see. We'll see.
Just get
But
Bradbury out of the slot. I appreciate his,
well,
willingness
he
to help
moved
the
back
team, but
outside, and this is I got maybe he needed to readjust to it. I don't know, but he did not look great.
I
So,
mean, he's not looked great at all. But at least we can, put him out in a position he's
oh.
used to playing and see what happens.
Anyways, on to power. Excuse me, power rankings. So to go into the top 10, we have we'll start backwards. Ravens at 10 after a shaky loss, but still a good team. Dallas, another team, shaky loss, bad loss. We didn't even
I
get to
wouldn't say
talk about
shaky.
we didn't even talk about them. We saved them the benefit of the doubt here. Didn't even have to bully them on this episode. But they did not look good. Dak Prescott looked horrible. They're number 9 still. Seahawks at number 8. They had a bye week, but I think their defense has come a long way. They got a lot of young guys that are playing well. Jags move up to 7. They're 3-2 now. I think number 1 in their division. Although did the Colts beat the Jags? Oh, they're still in it. Dolphins at number 6. Bills at number 5, dropping back from the loss. Lions make a big jump all the way to number 4, considering that they only have one loss and it was in a shootout to Seattle, but they've also beaten the Chiefs. So Chiefs we had at 3, and then our 1 and 2 remain the same. Niners at 2, Eagles at 1. Yes, we will not be moving the Eagles. This is a Philadelphia-based podcast. We are going to be biased. Eagles are the best team in the league right now. So
Hey, they're undefeated.
can't argue. Moving on to our game picks. So we had a high last week, and we came back down to earth a little bit this week. Still positive, but definitely weren't as great as we were the week before. Guest picks got us again. So Billy was our guest picks. He went 9-6. Excuse me, 9-5. Because we had 4 teams on a bye this week, so a couple less games. But you and I, Tim, went 8-6. So we're kind of, remaining pretty even. And you have a 2-game lead on me. No, not a fan of
Good.
that.
Good.
But I think now you only have a 1-game lead on the guest picks. Oh no, wait, the guest picks are ahead of you now. So congrats to the guest pickers. You are back in number 1. But
About time you start carrying your weight here, buddy.
I'm right there. But all right, moving on to the game picks. Now we don't have someone penciled in yet, so won't be announcing anyone's guest picks on this episode, but they'll be there. They'll be ready for it. Moving on to week 6 already. I am not ready for this NFL season to be flying by, but here we are, middle of October already. Broncos at Chiefs, a Thursday night treat to watch Pat Mahomes disassemble this horrid Broncos defense. I'm taking the Chiefs.
This doesn't take much thought.
I just wanted to build it up,
Yeah.
Another 9:30 a.m. game. No idea where this one's being played. Ravens at the Titans. What do you like in that?
This one is actually in London as well. I've already seen some Ravens fans touchdown.
Oh, interesting.
I'd say this is a mild get right game for the Ravens. I mean, they lost the Steelers, who have looked terrible, and they looked really bad with all the drops. But I mean, it's still a division rival. Yeah, the Steelers play them tough, but in a minor get right game, I think the Ravens are going to pull this one out.
I agree. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Titans are the one of those teams that you just think you know them, and then they go in and beat a team that they should lose to.
That's true.
I think that's just the Mike Vrabel effect or something. They have a weird mojo with them, but I agree. I think the Ravens need this game, especially with the Browns. Coming off a bye. Deshaun's probably healthy now. Not that that's saying too much, but that defense is pretty nasty in Cleveland, so they need to get wins when they can. And Cincinnati's starting to come alive a little bit, hopefully. So next game, Panthers at the Dolphins. Yeah, I'm taking the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yeah, this is the Dolphins. Not much thought on that one.
Next game we have Saints at the Texans. This is kind of intriguing. Texans off a
Yeah,
loss, Saints off a blowout. What do you like?
you know, I think the Saints defense is very good. I don't know if I really think the Saints are very good.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks here. I'll ride with them. I like what D'Amico Ryans is doing. I like CJ Stroud a lot. I'll take the Texans. I'll roll the dice.
All right. I think I think the Saints are not by much, but they're the better team. Um, I think the Texans have had a nice little start to the year, but they're a young team that's with a first time head coach. They'll have some hiccups along the road. So I'm gonna take the Saints here to take them out. Next game, another doozy. Commanders at the Falcons. Now, Falcons are home. Desmond Ridder hasn't lost at home. So
Oh,
Commanders, this could be a get right game for the Commanders. Yeah, they've lost two bad games back to back, a heartbreaker and then a blowout. So
you know what? I give the credit to give credit to the Commanders. They do manage to score some points. Like they scored, was it 34 or 31 against the Eagles? I mean, they put up 20. I mean, that's nothing impressive, but
well, Howell almost
they've
threw
had
for
a
400.
yeah, they had 35 against the Broncos, 20 in the week one against the Cardinals. They score here and there. The Falcons just don't score in general, so I'll take the Commanders here.
All right. I was hoping you were gonna fall bait to my Desmond Ritter stat, but I'll also
No,
be taking
Desmond
the
Ritter's, yeah,
Commanders.
not falling for any Desmond Ritter traps.
Colts at the Jaguars. I do love Minshew Mania, but the Jaguars need to win this game, so I will take the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor's back, Minshew Mania's taking over, but the Jaguars seem like they're hitting the stride that we thought they were going to be all
They
year.
still don't look great though.
No, but listen, they're winning games. No, but they have to go win back in Jacksonville now, though. They're out of London.
Yeah, no more home field advantage. All right, so we are on the same team for that. Seahawks at the Bengals. Seahawks off a bye. Hmm.
This one's tough
This
because
is
I mean,
this is actually really intriguing. Really
this
intriguing
one's
matchup.
tough. But you know what? The Bengals have burnt me so many times already in the season, and they beat the Cardinals, so I'm not going to get all giddy about that. Seahawks coming off the bye. I need to see a little bit more from the Bengals than Jamar Chase just torching a Jonathan Gannon Cardinals team. I'll take the Seahawks here.
I like the Seahawks, but I don't know. They've been lining up the scoreboard too. So, but the Bengals like they really cannot afford to lose any more games this early. So I'm gonna take Cincinnati. I like Seattle. I think it'll be a down to the wire game. I don't know if I could see it being like a 30 some point game each side, but we'll see. Division matchup. Vikings at the Bears. The battle of the bad. I gotta imagine Minnesota gets a dub out of here, so I'm gonna take
Without their
Minnesota.
best player,
Yeah, still. You can take Chicago.
I'm
Go for it.
I'm going to take Chicago here. Off a long week, the Vikings just lost their best player. It's in Chicago. I think this lines up okay for the Bears. I'll take the Bears on two wins in a row. Who would have thought?
Never did I think I would take the Vikings on 2 straight weeks in games they probably are gonna lose. So we'll see how this works out for me. Must see TV, right, Tim?
That's true, even against the Bears.
Next game. You know what? I was hoping Dallas would expose Brock Purdy with their Dallas defense, and I was let down. 49ers at the Browns. I am hoping we get some Myles Garrett, action on Brock Purdy here, but ooh, I don't know.
I
I'm actually
think
a little tempted to take the Browns here in an upset.
The Browns, obviously, their defense is incredible, so it will be nice to see them. But the Niners are so loaded. I mean, they've looked like an absolute juggernaut. I don't know what Deshaun Watson's injury status is. I think just logically, I have to go with the Niners. They've cruised through the whole schedule. I mean, the Browns don't strike me as the team that's going to stop them yet.
So far we have 3 games that we are different on. So if I come out 2 out of 3, I'm caught up to you. So I'm not too worried here, but I don't know. Out of a bye, like I like Stefanski. He's a good coach. They don't have Nick Chubb, which sucks, but they have some decent playmakers. Njoku, Cooper, Elijah Moore. But that defense, I'm really hoping they come to play. So, and you've had 2 weeks to prepare for CMC and the Niners. I'm going to take the Browns in an upset at home. I think. I think also the Niners are on cloud 9 right now because, I mean, you got Debo talking shit. You got George Kittle of all people talking shit. So
I mean,
maybe they get
pulled
back down to reality here. So we'll see.
Right.
That was the last of the 1 o'clock games. So Patriots. Oh my God, Patriots at the Raiders. Woo!
Oh, Jesus. Well, you know what? Listen, I'm sticking with the NBA and NFL parallel universes, so I gotta go with it. So I'll take the Raiders. Jimmy G in some revenge game.
Oh man, I don't know. Like Pats look bad, but I feel like they got to beat the Raiders, right?
I haven't seen them do anything that makes me think they are.
Yikes. This is going to be a good week or a bad week for one of us because there's going to be a lot of parity in picks here. I'm going to take the Patriots.
There you go.
It's one of us is digging a hole. Next game, Lions at the Buccaneers.
I think Detroit's pretty legit. I mean, the
too,
Buccaneers
but I
got a
think
nice
the Bucs
record.
they're a competitive team. But
Are you going to roll the dice? I'm taking the Lions.
Hell no. I'm not, I've rolled
say.
more poison dice than I can today already, so I'm taking the Lions. Next game is the Cardinals at the Rams. Cardinals have been surprisingly competitive. Like they're not like absolute dog shit. Like they're playing teams kind of hard now, but I gotta think the Rams come back after that. Eagles tough loss and they get a W here.
Yeah, I think they're both surprising. Like I thought they would both be kind of terrible, but the Rams are winning games and they're playing good teams well.
Yeah.
I'll take the Rams.
And then the Eagles, once again on the 4 o'clock schedule, playing the Jets.
There is no way we're losing to Zach Wilson. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Oh, you know what? Now I'm confused because I thought the bottom teams were home, but I think they're actually flipped because this is Eagles and versus the Jets. So this whole time I had the home field advantage wrong. Not that changes any of these games. It's in Philly.
Is it not? Aren't you going to the game?
It's in New York. Am I going to the game?
You didn't know this?
I thought it was in Philly. I'm so confused. Oh, it is? No, I'm right. It is oh shit. I'm going to Jersey. I didn't realize that.
What do you mean you didn't realize that? You're going to the game and had no idea where it actually was?
I'm so glad that we had this conversation because I was about to drive to the link on Sunday.
You are an idiot.
Wow.
You're an actual idiot.
I didn't buy the tickets. Nick did. So that's why I was like,
this never came up in conversation?
Didn't even come up in my mind. I'm going to call him. I'll go text him after this. Be like, I just realized I need to drive to Jersey. But that's a trek. Damn. All right.
Wow, you are ridiculous.
Anyways.
You're welcome.
Well, this has been a whole bunch of revelation, and I'm not even cutting this out. Y'all are getting this shit raw. So, all right, yeah, I'm taking the Birds. They should. Could this be a trap game? Yeah, but I mean, trap game to Zach Wilson. I hope not. I'm hoping for a big. They need one of those. I mean, I'm a broken record here. I've said this 4 weeks in a row. They need one of those games where they have almost 10 sacks. This could be the game. So we'll see. Then Sunday night, I don't know why they keep putting the Giants on primetime football, but Giants at the Bills. I'm taking the Bills. Not even gonna
Yeah,
question that.
Dable rematch is not going to go well. Von Miller is going to eat Daniel Jones in half.
Yeah, he didn't get to play too much. I don't know if it's because he has
Oh,
an injury or
oh,
because he has a
he'll
weird
play a
diamond
lot this
haircut.
week. I promise you, he'll play a lot.
Yeah. And then another a lot of interesting matchups that aren't like within the same conferences. Cowboys at the Chargers on Monday Night Football.
I mean, Chargers are going to paper, but they always let you down. They're kind of ass. The Cowboys need to get right. I'm going to go Dallas. Again, a minor get right game. I won't say it's a get right game, but a minor get right game. I think they show up on national TV and try to revenge this.
Yeah, I hate to play that same card, but yeah, I think Dallas, like you said, get right game for them to beat the Chargers. I would love Chargers to win, but my brain says Cowboys, so all right, and that is a wrap on our game picks. We found out that Dakota is a fool, and
You are a fool. We know that every day.
I was about to drive to Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday to watch the Eagles from a parking lot because they will be in the Meadowlands facing the Jets. So,
Well, I'm glad I could help you there, my friend.
you're good for something. That's nice to know.
Well, hey, till next time, enjoy the game.
Go Birds, go Phils. Let's see what happens.
Sounds good. Peace.
Peace. Thank you again for listening to the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks Sports Podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe on all your major platforms. Follow us on YouTube. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Have a great day, and tune in next week.